Topics you speak is confirmation of the enlightenment. Generally, many people speak about enlightenment. One of the rare things you speak is how to confirm ourselves if we have understood the nature of our mind. That is one of the topic you talk. Based on that, I believe you might have known some people after listening to you who understood you might have realized their nature of mind or got enlightenment and they are in the flow. Would you like to share some of the names or would you like to let us know like what is the approximate number who might have realized themselves after listening to you?
So that may be more than 1,000, but the main thing is that the understanding is not a complicated thing. You can very easily understand. But you must be sure of your understanding. You should not doubt about your understanding. But even because whenever somebody understood like this, naturally they feel the flow of their mind. Previously they won't feel the flow of their mind. Only because of their understanding alone, they feel the flow of their mind. So that is the sign of the understanding. So thereby they have to confirm. But afterwards, they may, but whenever we are having some lifestyle as previously, that person who has such kind of understanding in this way is very, very few, one among million. So there is a rare case who can be capable of understanding. So when such kind of when it is a rare instance, what will be his action will be, he will seclude himself. He will isolate himself from the other person. And that is what the other people has done. The person who has understood, secluded himself, isolated himself from, without any duty, because he understood what he is trying for, and understood he finished the psychological duty, after completing the psychological duty, he ended the physical duty also. He is secluded himself from all the physical duties. He detached from the world and keep himself alone. And thereby there is no necessity to transact in the outer action. But nowadays, as this understanding is very easy and anybody can understand like this, so an ordinary person can understand. But after understanding, so it is very simple and very easy to know, easy to feel. So he, because of much effort, because previously only because of much effort alone he had come to that conclusion. But when we are placing something, some material to understand, some work upon the matter, so it is easy for him to analyze all those things and come to conclusion. And thereby they understood. But at the same time, as he is taking himself to be an ordinary person among other person, he is mixing along with the society and continue his old duties, and he is one among the citizens, one among the other people. So naturally, whenever he involved in any transaction, naturally he will have some reaction. So whenever we are having some reaction like this, he may have some doubt. As we have properly understood like this, how this kind of emotion I should have. So he doubt his understanding himself. So that is a defect. So that is a doubt. So in that way, they may question their own understanding itself. But the matter is, the understanding is no work in the psychological world. Even after the understanding, even after some another kind of emotion in such a way, you should not question like this. So if you doubt your understanding because you have some some emotion like this, you are not right to question like this. But anyhow, because we may question, some person may question like this, whether our understanding is proper or not. So that when we doubt the understanding, then only you are disturbing the understanding. Actually, the understanding is not complicated. It is very easy. Psychological world is concerned, there is no work. It is very clear, and if you are sharing this understanding, if you are tested this understanding, if you feel the fruit of this understanding, thereby we can have the natural flow of our mind. So if you understand, you cannot return back to the old state of mind itself. So it is impossible for anybody who has understood the natural flow of the mind, he can never return to the old state. It is impossible. As the ordinary people, it is impossible for the ordinary person to get the liberation. The liberated person is impossible to return to the original old state. So it is impossible. So once he got understood, once he got the feeling of liberation, it was once for all over. So afterwards, some little reaction when he mixed with the society, having some problem with the circumstances, naturally we will have some reaction. Otherwise we cannot deal with the society. We cannot live in this society. So naturally we will have some reaction like this. So we should not doubt, because of this reaction, we should not doubt the quality of understanding. So that's the thing we have to bear in mind.
You said there's like more than 1,000 people have heard you and heard the advice. I don't know, use the word truth, let us say advice that don't try to change yourself inside. Out of that, and some of them might even have their doubt. They might call from a bus stop, my bus has not come from 3 hours and I am worried, and what should I do now? That's an example you repeatedly keep saying. So now, so how many of them have confirmed that, over a long time that they have understood themselves? Like out of this more than 1,000 people.
So we have taught him how to walk upon the ground.
Okay.
Sometimes they may fall.
Okay.
But don't mind each and every time when they fall, they can very easily get up.
Okay.
So the falling is not a problem. But you have to get up from falling, doesn't matter. But whenever, each and every time, but as I am available, they are easily phone me how to get up. It's impossible to fall down. You have taught me how to walk, but now unfortunately I fall down. What to do? As I am available, they are simply, if I am not available, they will know how to walk. But the main thing is that how to walk, that always the thing. But they have understood how to walk. Then falling may be natural. Sometimes something may be, whenever walking, when we are sitting, there is no necessity to fall down. But whenever we are walking, there may be some chance for falling down. But we don't mind the falling. But the moment you feel you are falling, then you can get up and you can walk further.
So if you switch off your phone, maybe 1,000 people will be watching.
So, but at the same time, it is an example that I can refer to other person.
I had a question about the natural state of mind. Yesterday I was thinking a lot about it. So, I feel that the natural state of each person will be very different, I think, based on how the person is conditioned, right? So my natural state of mind and the way this mind reacts to different situations will be very different. For example, his mind reacts or someone else's mind reacts. So do I need to, understand the natural state better of how my mind works, so it will be easier to, I don't know to say, to dismiss it or to gain the understanding.
So here, if you want to shape the mind, in a good state, then you have to work. So here you don't mind the mind. So you leave the mind itself. So don't find any work there. That it is common to all. Your mind may be in one style, his mind may be in another style, my mind may be in another style. Doesn't matter. Whether we have any work there or not is the question. So if you find no work there, the matter is over. It may be functioning in a different style, doesn't matter. If the mind is in a good style alone, then the understanding is possible. It is not like that. So in any state you can understand no work is there on your part. So you have to come to the conclusion, no work is there on our part. So that is the understanding. The function of mind is different. Sometimes you may react in one way, I may react in another way, he may react in another way in a given situation. That's different. You may react like this, doesn't matter. But the reaction is related to the external world. Because then only they can face the situation in their own way. But here we are how to shape our mind without any reaction or anything, then we are struggling with ourselves. So here we understand there is no work within ourselves, and thereby we understand that no work is there. So that is the main thing. We find we must understand there is no work in the psychological world. That alone is important. Happening naturally, so even though you are doing anything, some working is going on. Some thought is going on, some emotions are going on. When you face a situation, some reactions are going on. So that is a natural function of the mind. So what happens, in the next moment it disappears. The appearance and disappearance is the nature of the mind. Some emotion comes, some feeling comes, some thought comes, and the next moment it disappears. That is the natural function of the mind. But here, is there any duty on our part? When we think we have some duty, I have to keep my mind always in a good state, that alone is the problem. So we have to understand there is no work on our part. The natural work is different. When I see a danger, I have some fear. When I see some adverse situation, we may have some sorrow or angry. Anything we can have. So there is a natural response. But the natural response is related to the external situation. Only because of such kind of reaction, we can manage the situation. With the help of fear, we can manage the situation. With the help of anger, I can manage the situation. With the help of some tension, we can manage the situation. Everything comes for the help. So, but at the same time, if it is not related to the external world, if unnecessarily coming, unnecessary tension, unnecessary fear, unnecessary sorrow, you don't mind that. You need not keep yourself without any sorrow, without any tension. You have no duty like this. Then you have to give total freedom to the function of your mind.
Let us see. Sometimes there is an outward expression as well of a natural state of mind. So I understand anger because there is anger inside, and of course then there is a choice whether that is to be expressed outside. But sometimes there is a emotion like sorrow where you feel like crying. Sorrow. You feel sad, and then you feel like crying. So now crying is an outward expression, right? So the natural state is sorrow. Okay, we don't do anything about it. Now the outward expression, now that is, I think that is action. So that crying sometimes comes. So at that time we might not have a choice, because if we try to choose, there will be conflict and obstruction, right?
So the external world is concerned, we have to follow some order. As you have anger, you should not kill the other people. You should not shout, you cannot use bad words upon other people. So we have to behave in a civilized manner. So in the external world is concerned, our behavior must be in a good manner. So we have to follow some rules and regulations. But our emotion, we cannot follow any rules and regulations for the emotion. It comes naturally. You may give an order that no anger should not come, no fear should not come, no. You may expect like this, but it will not happen. Your emotion will not follow the rules of like this. It may come on its own. But here, in the external situation is concerned, how we have to react. For that, you can, but each and emotion naturally will not bring action. Before whatever may be the action, before it is, whatever may be the reaction, before it going for an action, some gap is there. For that you can make use of your intellect. And with the help of your intellect, you can select. For example, if you have some anger upon some other person, you can select whether you can adopt the anger or not. It is in your hand. If you want, you can select the anger and express outside. If it is not correct to select the anger, you need not select the anger. So it is in your hand for the external action. But at the same time, you should not try to keep yourself without any anger, without any sorrow, without any fear. You should not try like this. So everything comes naturally. But you can translate the emotion into action. That is in your hand. That you can make use of your choice, make use of your option. That you can use.
So, can I continue?
I'll just add a statement, then you will continue. My statement is, should I build a natural hut, naturally like a hut, naturally compatible hut, or should I build a 10-floor building if I don't want to build a house?
Want to build?
This question is similar to, should I build a hut, natural hut, or a big building, if I decided not to build a house?
Natural building means?
Like a hut, like a natural thinking is what is referring, right?
So psychologically or physically?
Psychologically.
Psychologically, you want
Should I build a hut, which is natural simple, or a very complex big building, if I decided not to build a house?
So psychologically, nothing is if you are capable of building a nice house, you can do, but you cannot do. Whatever you do, for example, if anybody wants to construct this psychological structure, everybody wants to find the psychological structure, but it is not in our hand. We may keep ourselves in a calm situation, some good emotion, that alone we want. But against that demand, some unnecessary thinking will come. Sorrow will come, tension will come, fear will come. That is the happening. If it is in our hand, we can build a good house, psychologically. But the external alone, we can try. But if it's psychologically, it is not possible.
Thanks.
So I'm going back to emotions and actions, right? So anger, I understand anger is coming up inside, and there's some gaps. So for that we can have an external choice. But as I just wanted to come back to some examples where I feel I have no choice. Like if something is funny and I feel like laughing, and even trying to stop it is not really an option. Or if something, you see something or I see something and it's something very sad and there are tears which are going to come, they're going to come. That is, I think, an external thing. So in those kind of situations, how does this understanding work?
So you mean a situation or psychological situation?
So this psychology will be triggered by an external thing. So someone says something funny, so I feel like laughing, so I see, okay, in the natural state is the mind has sensed something funny. So now the action is laughing. It happens almost spontaneously, right? So at that moment, there is not really an intellectual choice. It just, or maybe I don't have that choice because it happens spontaneously. Similarly, there's something very sad which happened. Maybe somebody close to me died or something. So that emotion will arise and spontaneously I will start crying, for example. Now in that case, I don't see that there is much intellectual choice as compared to anger.
Unable to follow.
You get it? Can you?
Yeah, I can translate.
Okay.
இப்போ நீங்கள் வந்து வெளியே அகம்புறம்னு பிரிக்கிறீங்க. எமோஷன் வரும்போது சில இடத்துல நான் அப்படி பிரிக்க முடியல. ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிளுக்கு வந்து இன் டெத் பிளேஸில் ஒருத்தரை பார்க்குறோம், அவர் இருந்துட்டாருன்னா எனக்கு துக்கம் வருது. துக்கம் வந்ததுன்னா நான் உடனே எழுதுறேன். அந்நேரத்துக்கு இப்போ நான் யோசிக்க முடியாது அகம்புறம்லாம் நான் அழுதுறேன், அந்த அழுதை எப்படியே கண்ட்ரோல் பண்ண முடியும், அந்நேரத்துக்கு நம்ம இன்டெலெக்ட்லாம் யூஸ் பண்ண முடியாதுன்றாரு. லாஃபிங்க்கு எக்ஸாம்பிள் சொன்னார், துக்கத்துக்கும் சொன்னாருங்க. சிரிக்கும் தான் அந்த மாதிரி தான், யாராவது ஜோக் சொன்னால் சிரிச்சிடும் உடனே. அங்கே வந்து நான் இன்டெலெக்ட் யூஸ் பண்ணி நான் வெளியே சிரிக்கணுமா சிரிக்கக்கூடாது அதெல்லாம் யோசிக்க முடியாதுல்ல அப்படின்னு கேட்குறாங்க.
So when somebody died and you got some agony within yourself and you express some tear or some weeping, you are having some weeping. So here what happens is that you have some sorrow within your mind. Whenever you face a situation, the situation is not good, you have a feeling of sorrow. The expression of sorrow alone, it is the expression. You are expressing your sorrow in the external way. So that is weeping. Weeping is the external expression. But sorrow is psychological. But here we should not question the sorrow. But be aware of whenever sometimes the sorrow may be there, but they need not be expressed. Expression is not necessary always. Sometimes it may necessary. It may have some expression. Sometimes it may not have some expression. So everything, but even whenever we have some reaction, when the reaction gets the action, before that some gap is there. But in the gap alone, our intellect takes the function. With the help of the intellect, with the consent of the intellect alone, all emotion takes the action, takes the shape of action. For example, I think you must have already heard the example. For example, you have gone for a faraway country and purchased a beautiful flower vase in glassware, and you place the glassware in the teapot of the hall. It looks very nice. It is very costly glassware, and your son, with the age of 3 or 4 years, he draw the glassware and broken down the glassware. So immediately you got the anger, and on anger you have given a blow to your son. So here, on seeing the destruction of the glassware, you immediately got anger. So you take the anger in hand and give a blow to your son. So it transforms the emotion into action. So in the same situation, for example, instead of this example, your close relative, they are also coming to your house with their little boy. So there's the same little boy also down the glassware and broken down. So on seeing that, so immediately you got anger. But at the same time, you will not give a blow to the person. What is the difference? So as it is your son, you are very easily take the anger in your hand and give a blow to the son. But in the case of the relative boy, your anger is there, but you are not using the anger. What is the difference? Here, so you have the choice. The emotion is there, doesn't matter. But you have the choice before you take the emotion into action. So here, in the first instance, you take the anger in your hand. The anger comes on its own. You are not created the anger. The anger, without your knowledge, without your expectation, the anger comes spontaneously. And what has come, you have taken the anger in your hand and expressed it in action. But in the second instance, in the same way, the anger comes unconsciously, but you have not taken the anger in your hand. So whenever you do not take the anger in your hand, then you did not express it in action. So he simply pat the boy, don't worry, you may say like this. But in another case, suppose you are working under a boss. He is the boss superior to you and you are working under him. And he committed a mistake. And the person who has committed the mistake is he but he accused you as if you have committed the mistake. So on seeing that, you simply got angry upon him. How dare he was to blame me like this, as he himself has done the wrong. But he accused me that as if I have done the wrong. You simply got angry. And you take the anger in your hand. How dare he has to say like this, I have to shout, I have to show my anger. Say, thinking like this, you should take the anger in your hand. But whenever you take the anger in your hand to express, then only you know if you express, you will have to face another kind of consequences. You maybe go out of the job itself. So then after getting the anger in your hand, then only you have to suppress the anger. So the suppression happens only after taking the anger in the hand. But in the first instance, you are taking the anger in your hand and expressed. But in the second instance, you did not take the anger in your hand, so you need not suppress it, you need not express it. But in the third instance alone, you take the anger, but you cannot express. Then only you have to suppress. So that is the three instances. But here, the main thing is that all the emotions will not take the role of action. So emotion comes and disappears. But before that, the intellect alone takes and gives life for the action. So for that, the intellect in the external world is concerned, you may have some patience or some patience and steadiness. In that manner, you can keep the intellect in a calm way. If you use the intellect in a steady and patient way, then you can make use of the emotion. If it is necessary, you can make use of that. If it is not necessary, you will not take the emotion in your hand. So it is related to the external world. But in the emotion itself, if you do not take it in your hand, it will disappear naturally. You need not worry about the disappearance of the emotion.
எனக்கு வந்து அவங்க கேட்டதில் என்னோட கவனத்தை மீறி நான் செயல்பட்டுட்டேன் அப்படின்னு அவர் கேட்குறாரு. நான் கவனமே இல்லாமல் நான் அழுதுடுறேன், கவனமே இல்லாமல் சிரிச்சிடுறேன், ஆனால் அது அந்த சூழ்நிலைக்கு பொருத்தமாக இருக்க மாட்டேங்குது. அப்படின்ற பட்சத்தில் அந்த புற இயக்கத்து சம்மந்தமாக என்ன பண்ணுறதுன்னு பொழுது மேபி நீங்கள் சொல்லுவீங்க இல்லைங்களா, அதாவது கவனத்தில் இல்லாமல் செய்யப்படும் போது நாமளாக அதை கையில் எடுத்து முடிவெடுக்க நினைக்கும் பொழுது தான் அது நம்ம கையில் இருக்குது. கவனம் இல்லாமல் ஒரு செயலை நிகழ்ந்தால் கூட அதையுமே கூட நம்ம அன்கான்ஷியஸாக நடக்கிறத நம்ம வந்து அது மனதனோட இயக்கமாகவே தான் கன்சிடர் பண்ணிடணுன்ற மாதிரி ஒரு விளக்கம் கொடுப்பீங்க.
பட் இருந்தாலும் இப்போ உலக வேண்டியது வந்து நம்ம கவனத்தோட செய்கிறோங்கிறது சொன்னது தான் இப்போ முதல்ல தேவை. இது அதுக்கு அடுத்த எக்ஸ்ட்ரா தான். Sometimes certain things happens spontaneously. After taking everything into action, then only we remind that we have all on a sudden we have taken into action. But in the case of your son, it is very fast. As if there is no gap between the emotion and the action. It takes very fast. So in this way, sometimes it may happen. Sometimes you need not express the anger. In that manner, you can openly express your anger. But here, whatever has done, you have to take it as unconscious happening. You need not worry about that. You need not feel guilty for that.
When we grow in the society, lots of societal value system is imposed on us. Like Indian culture is different. If we go to, let's say, Afghanistan, at least from the past few decades, it's different. Russian culture is different. So, as we grow up in our culture, they impose on the innocent child lots of value system. Like for example, in India, they say you should be like Rama, you should be like Gandhi, you should always be disciplined, always good, always pray God, always go to the temple. And if sometimes if I feel like dancing, for example, like if I want to express myself, even if there's a kid, they say don't do it in public and all those things. So now, because of that, our conscious mind itself is, our whole mind is in a very constrained world. Like, we don't have freedom to do whatever we want to do. Maybe due to financial reasons, or maybe because of our cultural reason. Is that a reason for our corruption and the mind fighting with its own? Because every elder, they want to curb or shape your natural feeling. So they shape it, push it, control it, try to force it and change it and make us to behave. Is that the reason that becomes a habit inside our mind and we fight with ourselves?
So here, the situation is very good. For example, so the situation in India may be bad, but in the situation in your Canada may be very good. But even in that good situation also, you will fight against within yourself. Psychologically, the psychological fight will be still continuing. So here, the main problem is that we have to follow certain rules and regulations in the external world. But here we are taking the same approach to the psychological level. We are following the rules and regulations in the psychological world. That alone is the problem. It is common to all. Wherever you are, in which country, in which culture you may follow, the basic problem is same. Whether you have apply any principle in the psychological world, then you are in trouble. So you have to take all the principle in the external world, but there should not be no principle in the psychological world. So you have to divide yourself into two halves. So the psychological world and physical world. So physical world you have to take everything. Our culture may be different. It is related to the physical world. You have to go along with you cannot follow the culture of India in the China or Canada or Russia, anything. But at the same time, you cannot take the culture of the Western period people to the Indian society. Each culture may be different, doesn't matter. But whatever may be, don't impose anything psychologically. So we have to give total freedom to the psychological world. We should not have any principle. If possible, you can make use of any emotion to the external world. You may live in a good society or bad society. You may make use of some emotion. Naturally, whenever you are facing some situation, you will have some natural emotion. If it is necessary, you can make use of the emotion to the situation. But at the same time, we should not separate the emotions. We should not make any rule, this is good, this is bad. We should not bring any civilization within the psychological world. The civilization is only in the external physical world. There should not be any civilization in the psychological world. It must be free, it must be naked, it must be total, it must be natural. We should not impose any restriction.
Okay. Just to extend this question I asked, there are some of us are young and we always have this question, like, let's assume a person falls in love with a girl. Maybe in the Western society it is okay to get married. But here, generally parents don't accept it, generally. Like sometimes they accept, but almost always they don't accept. So there's a huge fight with the society, our parents and all those people. The boy and girl has to run away somewhere, get married, then come after some time. And there's so much struggle and fight and friction and trouble in that thing. So in this Indian culture, like, is it okay for a love marriage?
So here, the society alone is important. So the culture alone is important. You have to go along with the culture. Okay. We may think functioning against the culture is not, maybe it looks like good, it is not good. So you have to follow the rules and regulations of the society. So you have to, if you are to live in the India, you have to follow the Indian principle. You have to follow the Indian culture. If anything happens against the Indian culture, we have to separate the behavior. You have to separate the behavior. So it is purely related to the culture, purely related to the physical things. But psychological thing, you may be like anything. But don't question yourself psychologically. You may ugly or you may good, anything you may be there in the psychological world. Let it be let it be natural. Don't find fault with anything. Don't feel guilty for anything. So you take everything as natural, everything is as divine. Even though it maybe looks ugly, you have to take it as a divine one. You should not find fault with anything. But physically, the rule is exactly different. You have to follow the rules of the land, rules of the society, rules of the culture. Then only a good society will be there, good culture will be there.
To extend on that, if a person wants to do a love marriage, you should be able to convince his parents and make it adapt to the culture, convince them all, and then do it in a better way. If it is not possible, you should not be there because it may create problem in the physical.
Anyway, after marriage, he has to suffer. Whether it is out of love marriage or arranged marriage, the same effect will be there. We are unnecessarily talking in the name of love and arrangement. Receive this one.
We have day-to-day experience, very natural. It's a mundane experience, if you want to call it like that. And we don't resist with it. So every day I get up, every day I do my activities. Now I experience persons as a person, empty chair as empty chair, all those stuffs. And I don't fight with it. And of course it's a beautiful thing. But there is nothing profound or nothing divinity in it. It's an ordinary mundane experience. And this is liberation. So, as masters have said, we have to see everybody as a Shiva in everybody, like Ramakrishna sees something like that, or you have to feel everybody inside one. So these type of experiences, so doesn't happen. So it's nothing to do with divinity or it's a very casual thing. So these masters have given a color to this liberation as a divinity.
So here, if you take the teachings of other saints, if you apply the teachings to the psychological world, all teachings will fit. There will be no problem. But if you match the teachings with the external thing, some problem will be there. So, but they do not divide the external and internal. They collectively they are saying using something. But if you apply purely to the psychological level, it will be correctly matching correctly, it will fit correctly.
No, even inside it's not fitting correctly.
So you will say, psychologically speaking, if you take everything as a divine, that is good. You have everything as
first of all, there is nothing divinity is there. So what is the divinity in experiencing a person as a person, chair as a chair?
So here, psychological means your experience, psychological experience.
Yeah.
All experience must be divine. All experience is the experience of Shiva. So if you psychologically, you should not discriminate anything. You have to, the Advaita is related only to the psychological world. You have to, either you have to take everything as a illusion or everything is divine. So then
everything is ordinary. See, everything is ordinary. There is nothing divinity in it.
You may say everything is ordinary or everything is extraordinary.
Okay.
Both are same.
Okay.
But here, when everything, you have to bring all those things in the psychological world under one common thing. Then only there is no discrimination is possible.
But they are only discriminating. For example, Ramakrishna, when he walks on the street, he sees a person bicycling as Shiva, somebody sitting in the marketplace as Shiva, and he claims that experience as divine. And morning he might have taken a coffee or chapati. That experience he doesn't consider as a divinity. He is only maybe dividing.
So what I am trying to say is that apply those approach only to the psychological world. Don't apply if you apply the same rule to the external world and taking for example, driving a car is you may take it as a Shiva, and strolling away the car is also. then you cannot go to the police station to take action. But that is ridiculous. But that means if psychologically it is okay. But physically you have to discriminate. We have to divide. Then only it is okay.
Yeah, I understand your teaching, but what I am saying is only Ramakrishna is making something as undivine, something is not divine. The experience when he goes in the street, he claims that experience as a divine experience, and eating chapati is not a divine experience, and he goes on telling that when I go in the street, I see everybody as a Shiva. He claims certain experience as divine, and certain experience, mundane experiences, non-divine experiences.
To the possible extent, we can clarify like this. Otherwise, that is not necessary. We need not criticize anybody. But if you are taken in the psychological, it is all right. But if it is taken in the external world, it is not correct.
Even in psychological world, if he takes Ramakrishna teaching, and that going in the street and like seeing everybody face a Shiva face is a divine experience, and eating chapati is not divine experience, that is wrong.
So here, we have to, if anything we have to take as the experience of Shiva, we have to take in the total way.
Yeah, but he is not saying like that.
If you discriminate like this, that is not correct.
Are you sure that he says eating chapati was not defined?
Yeah.
Is that?
When he praises certain experience, that means he means other things.
No, that doesn't extend. But he specifically says.
Yeah, especially says the experience through sex is like shit, all those stuff.
Is it?
Yeah.
But different teachers will say different things. So if we start discussing every teacher, it will, we'll miss out the basic point. Right?
No, not
if I say what. So when we speak about the natural flow of the mind, is it actually a flow, or is it that something, or is it like experiences coming and going, or reactions coming and going? When I try to see a flow, I don't really see something which is a smooth flow. I don't see anything flowing. It's only things coming and going.
Coming and going. Coming and going alone is happening. But we are naming it as a flowing. Actually, appearance and disappearance. Some emotion appears and disappears. But when we are making any struggle, there we create a circle. We create a vicious circle or some eddy. In this way, some word is there. Otherwise, it is freely flowing, freely moving, freely disappearing.
I think there is a lot of confusion because a lot of books, teachers say, let things flow, let life flow. So we actually imagine, or I've been imagining something is flowing. But when I look psychologically, I don't see a flow. And even if moments where things are so-called smooth without any big disturbance, still there are only things coming and going. And there's nothing which I see as a flow.
But you have to say like this, but actually appearance and disappearance is the thing. So for example, when some water is flowing, the water moving from here and move slowly to go there. But here psychologically not moving from this place to other place. Then appearance and disappearance are always happening. But we name it as a flowing. It looks like flowing.
Some teachers give the example of having a screen and things coming and going away. If you look at it in that way, there is no flow. It's only coming and going.
But you will have the feeling of flowing. But whether it may looks like the really appearance and disappearance are always happening. But whenever it is happening in a natural way, you may feel it is flowing like. You may feel that it may have the quality of flowing. Your feeling will be in a state of flowing. That is your feeling. But really it is appearance and disappearance is the natural thing. but it looks like flowing. You can feel the flow of anything.
I think that is very much misunderstood because most people, or even I, often have thought, okay, something should flow, I should. And usually the problem I did exactly what it was. We usually latch on to feelings. So we feel our feelings and emotions flowing, but here I don't think we are talking about that at all.
Whatever it may, you may, if it is convenient for you, you may feel the appearance and disappearance. Love to you.
But I think all these three, if we can add one thing, all these three are same only. Because there's a thought, it appears, then the next thought appears. So the previous thought has disappeared. If you look at the water flow also, if you look here, there's water appears, then it disappears. Next water appears, next molecule of water appears, then it disappears. Even in a screen if you see, there is one picture, 1/24th of a second, and it disappears. The next picture comes, appears, disappears. So it's all appearance and disappearance keep changing.
I'll put it in different words then. What you see, okay, there's always a lot of sensation happening, but the one we notice is always the more prominent ones, right? Thousands of things are happening, like my feet are touching the floor, but I'm not aware of it all the time. It's touching, but always the most prominent one I see. Often there is no prominent one. Like I'm sitting, let's just say my eyes are closed. So there are often gaps. So if there are gaps, I'm only looking at prominent. Maybe I'm not sensitive enough. I don't see anything for 2 seconds. Then I don't see a flow in that terms. But still, as you are saying, there is still, because there is no resistance, things are by themselves happening.
So the main thing is that naturally appearance and disappearance is happening. But how you feel, you can feel like that flowing, but that is left to you. But the real thing is the appearance and disappearance is the real thing. One emotion comes and disappears, another emotion comes and disappears. That is the chain of emotions comes and disappears. Each and every moment, new emotions alone is coming. So appearance and disappearance alone is the natural happening. But how you feel, if you feel, you may feel the appearance and disappearance, or you may feel the appearance of disappearance in the form of some flowing. That is left to you. You may feel it is, but for myself, it looks like a flowing. But exactly if you define the flowing, actually it is not a flowing. It is appearance and disappearance alone. But if you feel it is a flowing, that is a feeling. You may feel differently. That's not different.
So it's like an interpretation or how one views it, but the fact is it is appearing, going.
Appearance and disappearance.
Now we can give it different names. We can call it flow, we can call it screen, we can call it anything.
No, but the naming gives, we are giving the name only because of the sensation I feel out of that. So I feel the sensation of flowing. So as I feel the sensation of flowing, I give the name like this.
Regarding I am, yesterday while we spoke, we said inside we will not have I am experience, something like that. See, is emotions freely flows, comes and goes, all those stuff. I don't make a problem whether I am there or I am not there, all those stuff. When it theoretically comes, yesterday we said I will not be there. So you are feeling that you are not there inside?
So each and every moment I am is there. Okay. I never said I am not there. I never said like this.
Okay, now yesterday you posed a question to him that I am, where are you? Whether in the psychological world or physical world. Then in the psychological world, and then no need to, you are not dismiss the psychological world, something like that.
So we cannot dismiss the psychological world. It is there.
It is there, okay.
So the person who is dismissing is also in the psychological world.
Oh, okay.
So we cannot dismiss the psychological
That's what
world.
I am also wondering whether there will be some different experience that I am not there.
I am is already always there. We cannot have a dream without the eye consciousness. Whenever there are some dream, there is some portion for the eye consciousness also there. So the psychological world, the total psychological world is made up of some thought. And one of the thought and emotion I am is also a kind of emotion.
Okay, so every moment there will be I.
And naturally,
these people say that there will be no ego, no I. I will disappear.
Made powerless. For example, when you take some responsibility, to as much responsibility as you have, then you will become powerless, powerful. So the powerful alone is some difference of opinion.
That only we have some middle mind in the tail.
Yeah. So whenever you take some responsibility, you become weight. You have some weight with a burden. So when you do not have any burden, when you do not have any burden like this, you don't have any weight.
Okay.
So it will be there but without any weight.
Yeah, I will be there without demanding. Yeah, before it was demanding that only good thoughts, pleasurable thoughts should come. Now it is there, but that's what they call as a no I.
No.
A non-demanding I, they call it as a non-ego. Okay.
But very simply says that there is no I. You are making a confusing statement like this, and you will wonder whether how it is possible without I. You can wonder like this. That will happen like this often.
Even if it is there, I don't have any problem. I is there, I don't know. But Krishna is saying that should not be. Then I am going and seeing whether I is there or not. I am trying to create a problem and see.
So just to add to that, just wanted to understand. So I also, as you're saying, I is a consciousness or a thought, right? So that also comes and goes and it keeps coming and going. So actually one teacher earlier told me that before speaking, first I comes, then thought comes what to speak, then speech is there, then after the words are spoken, again I goes. And every time there's either whatever mind action or external action, that I comes, the action takes place and I also goes. Is that right?
So every time, just like all emotion, I am is also a kind of emotion. So it is part of the emotion. Each and emotion, we cannot separate the consciousness from the other emotion. It is a part of the parcel of each and every emotion, each and every thought. So can you separate the I consciousness from your dream? Each and every segment of the dream, I consciousness will be there. So in this way, psychologically, just like a dream, each and every moment will have some experience. So in the experience, the experiencer alone will be there. Without the experiencer, there cannot be an experience. So every experience, it contains some experiencer also. So there cannot be an experience without the experiencer.
They are like joined.
And joined. It is one. We feel we are existing. We feel in each and every emotions, each and every experience, we feel the existence of ourselves. We feel the existence of the I consciousness.
Yeah, question. So now when we see this fact that this whole mental structure, the conscious mind cannot build it, but unconscious mind only can give it to the conscious mind. Then if this understanding happens, then you say this understanding acts in the future, right, to take care. So is there any timeline you can give? Like if you just see this, then after 1 hour everything is okay, all the thoughts are okay, or you have to keep seeing this for a month or a week or a year for that understanding to come and act, or is just one sentence, 1 minute, complete?
So here, you need not worry about the conscious or unconscious. So mind is functioning, you have to take it as a total thing. The mind is functioning, whether what is the demand for the mind. So the demand wants to create a structure within the mind, a permanent and concrete, a good structure. So is it possible? You have to question. So even though you create a good structure, it is whatever happens in the psychological world is a writing upon the water. You cannot have a permanent writing upon the water. So if you try, it is a meaningless game. It is a meaning effort. I want to write my name upon the water permanently. It is a meaningless. Then if you understand, you won't try to do anything.
Okay.
So psychological experience is not. It is not real demand. So it is a mistaken demand. If you demand anything it must have some worth. So you are meaninglessly demand something. It is impossible. We are demanding impossible things. If you understand there is no necessity to demand an impossible thing, then you will don't demand. So psychological demand is an impossible demand. So for certain people, so try through some meditation or anything, you can bind yourself and you arrest yourself to certain period, certain weeks, certain existence, experience. So after that, you can successfully create that. But if you say got success upon creating such kind of experience, then only you will understand and witness the danger of the experience. So if you can create bliss consciousness or anything. So if you are able to create it forever, then it will be the destruction for your soul. Then you have to afraid of the bliss consciousness. So here, as early as possible, we have to understand all the experience, we have experienced some permanency in the psychological world is meaningless. So when we find all the experience in the psychological world, all demanding to be a good experience is meaningless, then we will no longer search for the meaningless experience. So if we expect something in the external world, then we will get some meaning. So we have to take an intelligent way. So it is ignorant. Psychologically, if you expect something, it is ignorant.
So I can keep fighting as much as I want and say that still I have to achieve, but it's never going to happen. Okay, so the fight will stop only when you understand. There's no other way.
Yeah.
The fight will stop.
So when you understand that more work is necessary,
Yeah.
then we will not work. So you have to understand there is no work is needed. But our habit may be there. Without that, so even though you understand properly, in spite of your habit, you may unconsciously fight with yourself. But doesn't matter. But don't fight with consciously. Don't fight with to set you right always in a perfect state. So keeping yourself in a perfect state consciously is the problem. If it happens unconsciously, don't mind. So whatever happens unconsciously will be all right when you come to the conscious mind. But the conscious mind, you can very easily come to the conscious mind. Momentarily you may be unconscious, but the next moment you will be conscious. Whenever you are conscious that you are fighting with yourself unnecessarily, the moment you understand, the unnecessary struggle will be going away from you.
Some questions. We are having some unconsciously, even after understanding, unconsciously we are doing some psychological work. That creates a problem in the external world. But we become aware of it and you correct the situation. Once again you fall in trap, you unconsciously do some psychological work that reflects in the external world, again you are falling. But when we go back and read some books or view some videos of yours or some masters, once again the frequency of falling in trap for the unconsciousness diminishes and there is an extension of the understanding is much more. So is it advisable till this falling unconsciously into a psychological trap up to a state when the frequency is longer, is it advisable to go again and again to refresh yourself with the understanding concepts again and again in a frequent way? Is it right?
Here, when you unconsciously fight against yourself, it is only for the moment. The next moment itself you will be conscious of that. So whenever you are conscious of your unconscious fight, the moment you will remind your understanding. My understanding will come to your help. So the understanding will tell you you are unnecessarily fighting with yourself. The moment you are, but you are sure with the understanding. So you have no doubt about this understanding. If you have any doubt about the understanding, then you have to refer the book. So you need not refer the book, but you yourself are sure of the understanding.
if the referring alone clears that, does it mean that then the confidence you have in your understanding is somewhat not right? Is it? So we can take it like
not necessary. You may forget the books itself. You may forget anything, but it will come for your help naturally. But through working in a natural way, everything will be all right. If you sit here, you will be caught by the camera.
Thank you.
You have to hide it.
அங்கே சார் அங்கே உள்ள
I have a related question. So, I think each person gets the same understanding, but it is usually in our own words, in our own way. Right? So, we have our own way in which we will get this understanding. And sometimes what happens is there might be some flaw in the way we ourselves have, understood. So that's why I think when, for example, I come back to you, then that flaw which was there, it gets corrected. So do you think that that is the right way?
So the understanding is that we have no work psychologically. If in any way you can come this understanding, doesn't matter. The final thing is that whether you have any work in the psychological work. Work means if you want to establish any psychological structure, that alone is. But you cannot. It is creating a psychological structure that is meaningless. For example, when you are facing a mirror, whenever your new thing comes, the new image has to come. But if you want to have a permanent image in the mirror itself, it is not at all a mirror. You can paint something or anything permanently, then it will lose the structure of the mirror itself. So if it keeps if you given the role of a mirror, it must be each and every time it has to be new. New image alone has to come. If you keep on catching hold of a good image, then it is not at all a mirror. So in this way, psychologically taking any shape, if you are demanding any permanent shape, and at the same time you should not if you give any control to the mirror that you should not show the mirror of my enemy. You must show only my pictures of my family alone. If any other person coming from other than our family, don't show their face. If you give your order to the mirror, it is not a mirror. Our mirror will show the image of my family alone. No, nobody can see their image in the mirror. That is not at all a mirror. So the mirror is there. That means each and every time it must be new. Then only it has the real quality. So in the psychological values is concerned, so the image must be new. Each and every moment it must be new. There should not be any old. But sometimes because of our old habit or anything, we may casual or something, we may fight it to remove something. That may happen. But at the same time, we do not doubt our understanding. So understand there is no necessity to keep any image within ourselves. We can understand properly. Then after that, you may take the natural. Sometimes you may fight with yourself, sometimes you may not fight with yourself. Don't mind that. Everything will be all right naturally.
So, what I understood is that the important thing is to understand that there is no work to be done psychologically. How we individually arrive at that understanding may be different based on where we come from. Right, so each one of us will have our own logic, our own way of reaching that understanding in our own words and with our own life example. That is not important. what is important is this understanding, no psychological work.
Yeah.
If that understanding is there, then then we are all at the same level of understanding.
So when you have the understanding like this, the natural flowing will be there. So that is the deciding factor. So whenever you have the correct understanding, then the flowing will be natural. Otherwise, some block will be there. You will be flowing with some blocks. Otherwise, you will flow without any block.
Masters say that we are asleep and we need to wake up. What do they mean when they say that?
So the understanding alone is the real waking up. If you have not understood that then you are still to inquire and wake up. You have to. So it is unconscious work. So you have to. That means whenever you understand something, then you can come to a conscious level. So if you have not understood properly, then you are in the unconscious level. In that sense, we can say like this.
So we are still asleep. So it will be even if after our first understanding, or I don't know what to call it, first time we understood, we are still not that fully awake. But we need not aspire to it. It will happen when it's going to happen. Till that time, we be with that understanding that there is no psychological.
So you have to inquire in all respect and come to a conclusion about the correctness of this understanding. If you have any doubt, you have to inquire. In all respect, in all manner, you have to inquire and find the correctness of the understanding. Afterwards, you may forget the understanding itself. You know, to keep the understanding in one hand and do the thing in another hand. It is not necessary. When you understand like this, then after you will forget this understanding. Doesn't matter. So the matter is over. When you understand this correct, then matter is over. Then the understanding will look after yourself.
So I suppose, let's say there's an understanding, then as one lives life, one sees that the understanding is correct, and then that confirmation comes, my understanding is correct. Is that the right?
So understanding means whether you have any work in the psychological world or not is the question. So if you find some excuse that I have some work there, then you have not come to a conclusion. So you have to find no work is there.
Give one example of psychological work, and you can tell me if that is against understanding. So sometimes, let's say, my mind is very agitated due to maybe whole day I was in a noisy place. So now at night I feel I can't sleep, so I want to just do some breathing meditation to quieten the mind so that I can fall asleep. Right? So I don't know, is that aspiring for a state? And I know from experience, if I don't do that, I will not be able to sleep for whatever the next 4 hours. But if I do this, I can, with half an hour of this kind of quieting meditation, I can fall asleep very fast. So where does this fall?
That is external action. The external action is different. Psychologically, you are not questioning anything. If you are questioning your state of mind, it is not good, it is right. So we have no right to question anything. So everything is natural. We have to accept everything is as natural.
Because sleep is a long time problem I have.
With related to sleep,
Personal problem.
If you are related to the sleep, then you can take any practice or anything.
Yeah.
So everything related to the external work. It is a work. It is a physical work. It is not a psychological work.
But I am quietening the activity, right, inside the mind. So it is, isn't it psychological, because there's so much happening. It's not disturbing me, but I know I can't sleep with the head is full of thought.
So here,
if I quieten, I sleep.
Here you are doing it only for the work. for the physical work. For the physical work alone, you are maintaining some doings in the psychological world. So only for the physical work. For you have your physical duty, so sleep is a physical work. For that you are calming down your mind or anything.
So what if, let's forget sleep. What if, in the afternoon I feel mind is very agitated. I don't want to sleep, but I just want to calm it because I've been in a big crowd market. I just want to calm it so that I feel better. Now does it become psychological?
So it is psychological. When there is no necessity to like it is not connected to the sleep, it is not related to the physical work. So here, if the agitation is natural, but you are creating some artificial calmness. So comparing the artificial calmness and the natural tension, the tension alone is good. The artificial calmness alone is bad. So it is created. The artificial calmness is a created one. It is not natural. But the tension is natural. That alone is good.
Let's say I know I will. Okay, I know this is not going to lead me to any enlightenment or anything, but I just know I feel better. I think okay, that is a problem actually. Yeah.
So when you keep yourself in a better state, that alone is a problem.
That is the
So
problem.
don't keep yourself in a better state. You have to, so there should not be any better state or worst state. The psychological state must be a natural state. Better or worst is not there. Natural state alone is the only word. But if you take something is better, something is worse, then you are taking a stand. Then you are fighting for a good state and rejecting a worst state. Then your work is starting. So there should not be any worst. Any work for worst.
Can I not say the mind is physical? I want to calm it. Is that also not good? Or is the psychological
So
demand?
physically, if you want some physical rest or energy, some sleep, then you can arrange yourself for the sleep. That is different. But if you arrange yourself for the sake of the psychological structure alone, it is not good.
Okay.
You have to give total freedom to the psychological work.
And then I'll end up with two practices. One I am understanding and trying to dismiss. On the other hand, it is contradictory that I will also try to calm. So I think these two things will not go together, it will create conflict.
So first of all, you reject the external world.
Yeah.
You take up the psychological world alone and find no work is there. You don't mind the external world. First, you separate the psychological world and the physical world. You don't mind the physical world. You first take up the psychological world alone and find no work there. And afterwards, you dismiss the psychological world, then you come to the real world.
The problem with what I am saying, I got it. I am saying that this agitated mind I don't like. That is what I am saying. So I am trying to calm it. That is the problem. In what I said, if I am doing it like after coming from a market. But what you are saying is, for going to sleep, that is a specific thing which I know is important for my health. Tomorrow I have to, let's say, wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then get ready, go to office. So for that, from physical perspective, I can meditate for going to sleep. Right?
No, that is a physical work.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we all have read many masters and teachers and lots of people. But this is the first, you are the only person who says in some situations, tension alone is good. I think you should copyright this statement. Nowhere in the world anybody says in some situation tension alone is good. Everybody says no tension, don't take tension, relax and all this words. All spiritual people also say the same thing, medical people also say the same thing, and elders at home also say the same thing. Don't take tension. But you are the only person I'm hearing in some scenarios tension alone is good. Thank you.
So, when we were discussing among our friends about the understanding, some of my friends say that we fail in some external work, and that creates some disturbances and depression and sorrow in ourselves. And the understanding says the sorrow or depression becomes weightless and moves away. But they question me about the understanding whether that sorrow and depression should not be deeper enough to motivate you to succeed the next time. They take it that I do a thing, when I fail there, I got a psychological disturbances, and I utilize this disturbance alone motivates me to succeed the next time. What's wrong in that? Why you say that it should move away? Let it be there. I take it in a positive sense, and then I go and succeed the next time. Is their approach right?
Here, one correction. For example, one real situation. There was one person from Chennai. Another person has to give some money to that person. For example, the person who is, you can take the A. The person B has to give some $1,000 to A. So B has given a check to A. And when the A put the check for collection, the check bounced. No money on the account of the B. So bounced. So immediately A got angry. So here, this is the first situation. In the first situation, the check bounced. The check bounced, and on seeing the bouncing in the check, he immediately got angry. So that is the circumstances and the response. The circumstances is the bouncing of the check, and the response is the anger. So, if he make use of the anger to B, he will have to entertain a fight with B. And it will end that the B may simply say, I will simply meet you in the court, don't mind, I won't give you any money, let us meet in the court. They will simply dismiss the thing. But here, what he is doing is that, so he approaches B, forgetting the anger upon, because he has a tension when he see the bouncing of the check, forgetting the tension. He takes the second situation. The second situation is that the A has to get money from B. So that is the second situation. In the first situation, we have some reaction. That is tension. And that is the reaction for the such a situation. The second situation is true. He has to get money from B. Apart from the bouncing check, he has to get the amount in cash or anything, some other way. So that is the second situation. For the second situation, whether the reaction to the first situation is useful or not is in question. So if you take the second situation as a new situation, so new response will become. So the main thing is that we have to take each and every situation as a new situation. Then only some new response will be coming. Sometimes the old situation may be good and the old reaction may be good to deal with the second situation. Sometimes it may not be suit with the new situation. So in the new situation, you may humorously say something and convince the B and to get some cash or anything. You have to behave in a tactful way. So further, if you use the anger and tension, he cannot behave like this. He will fight and lose the money itself. Some possibility may be there. So here, we have to take each and every situation as a separate one, and thereby naturally there will be some inducement. The situation will create some inducement. So for example, some box is there with a heavy weight, some with 50 or 100 kilos. So whenever we want to lift the box, naturally we get the energy from the hand. So previously no energy will be here, but whenever we want to bend down to lift the box, the energy will come to my hand. So when I lift and take away the box, the energy will come to my hand, will go away, disappear. So in this way, the situation alone will create the energy, creating the correct response, correct emotion. And sometimes the old emotion may be helpful, sometimes some new emotion may be. But the thing is that we must have some approach to the situation. We should not dismiss the situation. We should take the situation in a good way. Then only as you don't mind the bouncing object, if you don't mind the collection of money itself, then you cannot collect the money. So you have to take some idea to collect the money. So that must be there. You must have some motive. You must have some active part to meet the external situation must be there. So that is why we are saying that we must have a goal in the external world. Psychologically, we must be free from goals. But in the external world, we must go. Then only some activation is possible. But whenever the reaction alone is a good thing, each and every man, some inducement must be there. If you rely upon the inducement, sometimes the inducement may not be there. Then you cannot reach the goal, reach the doing of the external world. So external world is concerned, you must have some goal. Whether it is reachable or not doesn't matter. But anyhow, you have some goal, have some motive point in that external world. It's the shaping of mind. And the freedom from the shaping of mind is manonasa. Shaping, we have each and every expression. For example, we are happy, we have some fear, we have some sorrow, everything is shaping of mind. So in this way, we may shape ourselves, thereby we can create some bliss consciousness, we can have some silence, we can shape, all these are manolaya, all shaping is manolaya. Something may be good, something may not be good. But at the same time, comparing with manonasa, all manolaya is bad. Even though it is silence, even though it is bliss consciousness, everything is bad. Comparing with the manonasa. Manonasa means whatever comes must go away. There should not be any permanency in manolaya. For the time being it is all right. For the time being it is right. But in next moment it must be away. It must go away.
Thank you.
So speaking about divine experiences, so my question was, you have been saying that for spiritual experience it is a different practice and for this enlightenment is a different practice. So is this divine experience or divine or seeing divine, is it related to the kind of spiritual practice and doesn't have anything to do with enlightenment? Is that correct?
So if you are caught with the experience, you will struck by the experience itself. You will not be ready to go away from the experience. So unless you find fault with the experience. For example, if you have the bliss consciousness, you may be very fascinated by the experience. Then you will not be ready to go away from the experience. But going away from all experience is the liberation. In liberation point of view, everything must be new, moment by moment new. There should not be any more. You should not catch hold of anything. That is the liberated state.
I wanted to add to what he was saying. As part of that Ramakrishna story, if you remember, Ramakrishna was obsessed with that image of Kali, and some other teacher came and broke a bottle on his head to get him away from that attachment. So even with Ramakrishna, I think his enlightenment sort of occurred then, and after that image was broken in his head. So there is that beautiful story about that.
You should have broken very early. You should have broken the bottle very early.
So this is matching with the teaching we are, listening right now.
Yeah.
But when you understand this for the first time, it definitely creates some blissfulness in your mind. So is it so?
So I have already had bliss consciousness, so I don't mind the bliss consciousness. So it creates some relaxation, stress. For example, have you got a release from the burden of getting something, burden of releasing from burden, some relaxation around this.
No, I'm asking not about your experience, but will everyone, when they initially understand that there is no psychological work to be done, will they calm their mind and they will feel some silence and blissfulness?
Sometimes it may release, it may have some bliss consciousness.
Blissfulness.
It has just like a response, they may have some.
So a total silence.
It may be there.
But
Some different kind of expression.
that itself may stimulate us to catch that
Yeah.
again.
But I just wanted to add that bliss consciousness anyway one can attain separately,
Yeah.
even without the enlightenment. There are so many teachings about how to attain that in almost every path. So, but that, as we are saying, it is not going to get us anywhere. It is, I think, it is Manodaya or something like
Yes.
that. Right? It is helpful, but yeah, but it's not the real.
Consciousness before enlightenment, that is having 24 hours to be in a state of bliss. So this is not this is a peculiar thing compared to other masters. So is this the reason that gave this insight that enlightenment is not bliss state, liberation is not a bliss state?
Once again, you ask the question.
I'm saying that you had a bliss experience before liberation itself. So this must be the reason for you to be very peculiar description of liberation compared to other masters.
Maybe. Somebody may be struck with some, they may not have some bliss consciousness forever. Sometimes they may have bliss consciousness, afterwards they may have some gap, and afterwards they may, again you have some bliss consciousness. So again, with some gap they can maintain the bliss consciousness, and they claim that they are enlightened. But for me, without any gap, there's the bliss consciousness continues forever. So then only I know the problem of the bliss consciousness. So as we say, if some gap between the bliss consciousness, I might have also maintained the bliss consciousness, and I may also say bliss consciousness is the end. I may say like it. But whenever the bliss consciousness is forever, then I understood the problem created by the bliss consciousness. Then I doubt the bliss consciousness. Then only I go away from bliss consciousness.
So many persons doesn't feel the silence or some sanity in their mind before liberation. So they find some peaceful flow or sanity or some silence after liberation. So they associate these experiences, these emotion as liberation.
But their description are like this, but that is not accurate. So if they claim like this, they cannot give the understanding to anybody. They will give only some manolaya alone they can give. They cannot give the manonasa. They cannot give the liberation.
Yeah, because in a way they're correct, because before they didn't have these things. So only after liberation they have these things. So like before wash, after wash, after liberation they're having these things. So they associate these peculiar things to liberation.
But that itself will be again
Disturbance.
What's the difference between this bliss consciousness and the other bliss consciousness which can come because of alcohol or other alcoholic beverages? Like, what's the difference?
Mostly same.
Same.
There is no difference. In a polite way, there is no difference.
That raises a big question. How do you know? I don't know.
Because he had both maybe.
Personally, I have the experience. I have the experience of both. So I know.
I was scratching my head. How does he know that?
That's why I can compare. Otherwise, I cannot compare.
You can ask him which one he recommends for. You also have to compare later.
I think I also have experience of both. Observation, if not much effort is required, and if you just say, just understand this, then, and even you have courageously written some of the books, like give up meditation, get enlightenment. So if you say give up meditation, at least $1 billion business is destroyed. There are so many people who is making business out of it. And if you say renounce God, I think $1 trillion economy is destroyed. So now, are you seeing some sort of resistance from those established businesses, like in the name of spirituality and religion and all other things? Like they are most probably supposed to hate you because you are destroying their businesses. So how do you see their reactions? Have you seen very bad reaction from any of those established people?
So on the outset of the title, they do not know what is inside.
Okay.
So if they go, what is written inside, they will accept.
Even the established people.
So, on the outside of the title alone, it may look like it is saying something against them. It is not. But if you are in each and every, there are many scriptures. The scripture, some reputed institution also teaching the same scriptures. In the same scriptures, they are saying like this: no meditation is not necessary. So they are actually, basically, they are not against our view. But if you have gone through and what is the discussion going on in that book, they will accept.
There is a proverb where don't judge a book based on its cover. But if somebody judges your book based on the cover, then I think.
But sometimes it helps, sometimes they did not help.
I see. Even Jesus says, like, don't have any thought for the tomorrow. Live like a bird. Like a bird is not much more. It doesn't have any expectations for tomorrow to be happy or unhappy. So even Jesus says simply, don't have any expectations of state of mind for tomorrow. Just live here now. But many of the followers are not like that. So yeah, if you are right.
The very word, very statement means tomorrow. So how to behave, how to live.
Right.
But at the same time, if you take it to the psychological world, it fits very, very good. So if it is taken to the physical world, it is not good.
Okay.
So whatever we are, so the very, very message is that the message is for tomorrow. Message is not for the past. Message is for the tomorrow. Whatever we are having some message, it is means to the tomorrow.
In the outside world.
The message, if you take the message, don't have any thought about anything, that means it aims to the tomorrow, aims to the next thing, next moment.
Oh.
But all thing is, but psychologically it is good. Whatever may be the message, whatever may be the teachings, if it is taken to the psychological world, some way or other it will be nice. It will be matching with the core. But if it is taken to the physical world, then we have to think for the tomorrow, think for the time. Without thinking, nothing is possible. How can we reach our home if we do not think anything? Without thought, we cannot return to our home. We cannot identify anybody.
Even with J. Krishnamurti, he will be criticizing the aim, success, money, all those things he'll be criticizing. But all those things needs to be taken for the psychological
Psychological.
aspect alone.
No.
But he may not tell it in that way.
In a clear-cut way.
Yeah.
So if it is clear-cut way, we sell like this, external is different. Psychologically, everything is good. All teachings are good.
Yeah.
I think one thing is after listening to you, if again I pick up a Krishnamurti book, I actually did that last 2 days. Now I'm reading it differently. Seriously, I mean, I both days I've gone and there is a book, To Be Human, which has 2 pages core of the teaching. I read it yesterday, I read day before also after listening to you. I never read it in that way before. I'm interpreting it differently now. So that makes a lot of difference.
Yes, definitely.
Earlier I was thinking, what are half these things? Why is he saying that? What kind of teaching is this? But now it's a little more easier to read those things and try to see what he's saying.
Yes. That definitely happens.
So, JK, as you said, JK said don't have money, don't have
Also. So they are not giving a definite borderline between psychological and physical world.
Yeah, if they say ambition, it's right word. If they say even success, it's okay. It fits to psychological world. They say money. Don't aim for money. Don't earn money.
So that is, if it is for the physical world, that is not good. That is incorrect.
But JK
No,
doesn't
he
say
says
that.
that-
I'll tell you, JK doesn't. What I have read, you have read more than this. What I understand is people.
Or anything. So here the ambition is that.
Yeah, if
So-
say ambition, that's fine. But if it says money,
So if you need the money, it means the external world. So what I am saying to say, so if it is related to the external world, that's not correct. So if it is psychological world, we have to remove the money. We got to take the ambition alone in the
then also you have to edit it.
So then only it is psychological. Money, there is no money in the psychological world. Money is only in the external world. So we have to edit. We have to edit that way.
And even in the 60%, you have to edit something.
It's like that.
So he means the external world itself.
Yeah.
Then only it is confusing.
So even if he does not use the word money, then at least you can say it fits to psychological world correctly. Even there he has made a confusion.
No, maybe people, we all need money for the basic necessities and for everything. You want to pay for the auto, gas, everything. But actually, even including my life, we want to fill up our emptiness with money, with the activities to earn money. And money is actually a representation of materials. I want to fill up big TV, big car, big house, everything I need to fill up myself. Competition, jealousy, I want to be bigger. Money is a representation.
Yeah.
So
So
that
there are already
is-
word ambition, success, power, prestige. You will not use the word money. It's very material.
So when we speak about this is related to desire, right? So desire again, it can be psychological. So I'm talking about psychological world and desire. So some people say that we should differentiate between desire and intention. So they will say that, for example, people are, someone is putting effort, or we are coming here. We say, is it a desire, or is it a desire to understand something, or is it like an intention to understand something, to be free, or to get liberated?
So here you might decide the external world. You need not differentiate the intention and desire. You may take both as one. You can use intention or the desire, doesn't matter. So you can desire for coming something. So some good thing alone you can desire for good thing. So it doesn't matter. So this is a good atmosphere. Instead of going somewhere else, you can desire for this. So only because of desire alone, you can do something. So for that you can make use of the desire. But at the same time, if your desire of some state of mind alone is some we are using the desire in a wrong direction, where the desire should not have any place. So we have to, then it is against the nature. So we have to, that means we are trying to change the nature of the mind, natural happening of the mind. If you are desirous to change something, what is happening naturally, then we are struggling with also. Here, the desire makes us to fight with ourselves. But in the external world, desire alone is the motive, desire alone is the inducement portion, then it is the desire alone is the energy to function. So we can make use of desire. We can desire of good things. So good and bad are in the external world. We can select the good. For that, desire is good.
What about arriving at the understanding that all the psychological work is not needed? So to arrive at that understanding, is there a desire to arrive at it, or how would you say that we should approach this?
So when the understanding the primary state, understanding itself is a external world, external work. So up to the level of understanding, you have to treat it as an external work. When you understood, then it is psychological. Then there is no, you find out. You have to find out, you have to have your work. Until you find there is no work for yourself. Till then you have to work for that. So it is understanding, but here you are not coming for understanding. You are properly understood, you can have some confirmation. For the confirmation you are coming, and for that you can do anything. So this is also considered as an external work. It is not the psychological work.
Why are you saying that we are not coming here for understanding and we are coming here for confirmation?
So you have properly understood previously itself. So there is no necessity. But if you have any different kind of idea, again this understanding, then you may have, as you have come for the first time alone, then you may work for the understanding. If you have already come, already understood, then you need again and again you need not understand. For example, if you understand 2 plus 2 is 4, again and again you not put the same problem again and again. The same thing is there.
I think it's related to the fact that you were saying we keep falling. So, when you see a fall, then doubt arises and then you feel, okay, my understanding is not correct, but we've already discussed.
So it is only confirmation.
Confirmation.
You can confirm this understanding, you may check the correctness of the understanding, you can verify the correctness of this understanding.
If we were against the understanding and if we are not satisfied with the understanding, we would have gone away. We would not be working with that understanding. We would have rejected it.
We know it's right. So
Yeah,
we come here, we sit and we listen to what you're saying.
When you think it is right, that means that we have understood. I take it that way.
I mean, if we are completely not understood, we won't come to
Yes.
it. Right?